Righto, I think I'm done with this. Let's start with the electrics. Wait a minute. Wrong one. Into the middle. Everything nice and quiet. Right, set up. Leveled the frets. Now the strange thing is, you'll probably see here, and it'll be harder to spot in video, but you'll definitely see it in daylight. You can see where the bridge, used to sit for quite a while, and now you can see the angle it's sitting at, which is wildly different. Now, there's another part to this story. When I took the nut off to level the frets and then put it back on, I realized it sat really, really high. Now, I don't know if I just sort of got it, kind of wrong, if it just was sitting a little bit high, when you knock something loose and put it back on, sometimes it doesn't sit the same way. But anyway, it was sitting really, really high and like above this fret. And you don't want that. This is essentially your nut on this guitar. And the nut is essentially just a spacer, really. It just keeps the strings spaced. So I have this funny feeling that in the before time, the strings were sitting up above that first fret, and the whole thing would have sounded really horrible. The intonation would have been terrible, and that leads me to conclude that that's why the bridge was sitting where it was, because it was just completely missing this 0 fret here. But anyway, that has been addressed. So now the strings are sitting nicely on that 0 fret, and the intonation is good at the 12th fret. Now, with a guitar like this, you can't expect the intonation to be perfect and to stay perfect. I would definitely stick with this this gauge of string just to ensure that the intonation stays okay. It's not exactly high-tech intonation here with the bridge. One thing I did notice when putting it back together is that it's not unstable on its own, but if you notice that if you change the strings and if you notice the intonation seems a little bit out, this upper section of the bridge can be a little bit wobbly, like it's not really cemented in place. When I put it back together, I noticed that I had to sort of shift it back a little bit to get it, sounding decent. Okay, and the bridge is also pinned in place, so it's not going anywhere. It's not going side to side, it's not going back and forth. It's going to stay intonated as well as it can be. One thing to note, the tuners, they're okay. They're a wee bit shagged, I suppose. If you ever wanted to spend a fortune on the guitar, I would maybe replace the tuners, but it's not really not a priority. It's just they're a little bit old and just whatever. Not the greatest, but still it's not something that I would say you must change them. It's up to you at some other stage if you ever want to. And I think that's it. Yeah, the action is nice and comfortable. Like I say, the frets have been leveled and crowned, and it looks almost new. And I'm going to send you a separate video explaining some of this, how I pinned the bridge.